It's main event time on ShowBox. Two super middleweights you've seen before are back. Andre Dirrell puts his perfect record on the line against Anthony Hanshaw, who fought to a draw in our ShowBox super middleweight tournament last year. Welcome back, everybody. Nick Charles, glad you can join us for another ShowBox. Pure unvarnished truth about this main event is that it's critical for different reasons for both fighters. Andre Dirrell's had a boatload of TV exposure throughout his unbeaten career, but his last television experience had boxing fans running for the remotes. Last June, Dirrell took on fellow prospect Curtis Stevens in a highly anticipated matchup. What resulted instead was dreadful. Dirrell in white and green spent the night on the run, sometimes literally turning his back and bolting. The crowd booed almost the entire time, and while Dirrell won the fight on class, he lost the crowd. Afterwards, he rubbed the exposed PR nerve even more, saying he didn't care about the fans. Tonight, he promises a new Andre Dirrell and a crowd-pleasing performance. As for Tony Hanshaw, his last fight was a high-profile step up in class and weight against Roy Jones Jr. Hanshaw fought, though, without intimidation and with heart and intensity. He worked over Jones in the corners and along the ropes, but Jones's still lightning-quick hands forced Hanshaw to back off. Round after round, though, was competitive and close, but Jones sealed the win in the 11th round when he sent Hanshaw sprawling. Hanshaw got up, finished the fight, lost for the first time in his career, but distinguished himself in defeat. Well, he really did. He lost to a legend. Nick Charles back with Steve Farhood as usual, ringside here in California. Steve, talk more about what's on the line for both guys in this main event.
A lot, Nick. Yeah, really, not all ShowBox main events have this clear a definition. Andre Dirrell, there are questions. Can he erase the stigma of his win against Curtis Stevens? Can his grandfather, Leon Lawson, take him to the next level, to the championship level? But ultimately, does he want to be known as an Olympic bronze medalist his whole career, or does he want to be known as a fighter who can realize his tremendous physical potential and win a world title? That's what he's going to answer tonight. Hanshaw, you said before stops and starts to his career, two-year layoffs in his career. Tonight, with Ronnie Shields in his corner, third different trainer in 3 fights. He's 30. He's in his prime. Does he want to be a contender who can fight for a title, or does he want to be a high-level trial horse? That's what this is about for Hanshaw.
Good sign for him. He's really angry about, having to fight a hot-shot young kid and sort of being the guy in the blue corner, threatening to be just an opponent. But again, Hanshaw's a dangerous proposition. We've seen how well he could do. How does Dirrell, though, use his speed and mobility without running again like he did in that horrible performance?
Well, in the X's and O's, in terms of X's and O's, I would say he needs to come forward with his jab, throw combinations, more punches, instead of moving backward, move laterally. But ultimately, really what it comes down to for Andre Dirrell is intent. Is he going to stand there and get some respect and fight like a pro, or is he going to fight like an amateur?
Well, Andre Dirrell, tremendous. You mentioned amateur credentials. He's a former amateur star, 2004 Olympic bronze medalist in Athens, 3-year pro, natural lefty. He's been on TV 6 of his 14 fights. He says that run-and-gun performance against Stevens was a one-time mistake, that he was clearly disappointed and understands how fans would feel. Dirrell's had 2 off-TV wins since, acknowledges Hanshaw's without a doubt his toughest challenge. He's ready to win and look good doing it. 24-year-old Andre Dirrell, now 14-0, 9 knockouts. Take us behind the numbers, Steve.
Stepping up, Nick, with the exception of Stevens, who was 17-1. Dirrell hasn't fought anybody capable of testing him. His 2 most recent opponents were 9-15-1 and 23-38-8. Leisurely schedule. Dirrell turned pro almost 3.5 years ago. He's had only 14 fights. That's too slow a pace, especially for an Olympic bronze medalist. And punching technique. Dirrell's power is in his speed and his natural leverage. But until he's willing to step in with his punches, I would not call him a big hitter.
And we see Dirrell. Tell you about Tony Hanshaw, former U.S. National Golden Glove champion, 7-year pro. Very active early in his career, then those long layoffs. He attributes some of that to not being able to get over the accidental death of his father. It was 8 years ago. Hanshaw seems to lack maturity and commitment throughout his pro career. He did come back for our ShowBox Super Middleweight Tournament, went to the finals, getting a draw, some said should have gotten a victory against Jean-Paul Mendy early last year. Before that loss to Roy Jones, which was his last fight almost 10 months ago. Tony Hanshaw is now 21-1-1, 14 KOs, and at age 30, as we've said, Steve, can't afford another loss. Not tonight, certainly. What's behind his numbers, Steve?
Tony Hanshaw's left wanting. Until he went 12 with Mendy in the Showbox final, Hanshaw had fought only one round against the Southpaw. That Mendy experience should help him big time tonight. Keeping up with Jones, Hanshaw fought reasonably well against Jones last time out, and that was at light heavyweight. As a result, his confidence is very high right now. And power and pressure. Hanshaw has stopped only one of his 5 most recent opponents. He doesn't necessarily have to knock Dirrell out, but he needs to apply constant pressure.
Andre Dirrell risks his perfect record against Tony Hanshaw. Super middleweight showdown of enormous importance for both. Back to ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the Chumash Casino Resort here in Santa Ynez, California for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Gary Shaw Productions and Showtime. At this time, we introduce to you our judges scoring this bout from ringside: Marty Denkin, Dr. James Jenkin, and Jack Reese. Introducing our third man to the ring, our referee in charge of this bout, Pat Russell. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing in a super middleweight special attraction. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Santa Ynez, California, it's showtime! Introducing to you first on my right, he is fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with black and white trim. He weighed in at 169 pounds. With a fine record of 21 wins, only 1 defeat and 1 draw. He has 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the Showbox Super Middleweight Tournament finalist from Massillon, Ohio, introducing Anthony the Tiger Hanshaw. And his opponent across the ring on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with green trim. He weighed in at 168 1/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 14 wins, no losses, 9 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2004 Olympic bronze medalist from Flint, Michigan, introducing Andre the Matrix Dirrell. Once again, a referee in charge, Pat Russell, now to give instructions. 10 rounds of action scheduled.
Let's go, Andre. Anthony. All right, there's the line right there. There's the line.